Let's be honest, painting green power armor can be a real grind, but today we're going to paint an armor worthy of the Primarch Vulcan himself. The best part, the method is surprisingly quick and easy and requires absolutely no airbrush. I'll show you the whole process on this custom salamander, featuring some parts from Grey Tide Studio. You'll see how a few key paints and some simple sponge layering can do all the hard work for you, and it's excellent whether you're new to the hobby or just want to get your models painted quickly without sacrificing quality. Alrighty, it's time to light the forges and smash this armor out. Starting off, the mini's primed black, and I've left the backpack off so I can paint it a different colour later. Now I'll be using a sponge for most of the texture work, but sponges struggle at getting into deep recesses. To solve that problem right from the start, our first step is a quick base coat using a mix of lizard green and afro shadow with a large brush. I'll thin it with a little water, then apply it over the whole mini. I'm aiming for a solid coat of that dark green deep into all the nooks and crannies. Don't worry about a perfectly smooth finish on the flat panels. The sponge work is going to completely change that texture anyway. Time for some bright highlights. I've rinsed and dried my brush, and I'm using pistachio. Now the goal here isn't neatness, it's speed and contrast. I'm hitting the whole model with a heavy dry brush, aiming to catch as many edges as I can. It's okay if it gets on the flat panels or looks a bit splotchy and chalky. This step is all about quickly establishing our brightest points before we start blending everything together. Now we're going to add the shading. For this, I'm using dark rust wash, which is a reddish brown enamel that really complements the green armor. To get a really smooth and consistent flow from this wash, I'm first going to apply a coat of white spirit over the entire model. This simple step helps thin the enamel, allowing it to settle into the recesses more easily. Then I'll go straight in with the dark rust wash, applying it all over. You don't need to use a dropper bottle for the white spirit, you can also just pre-mix the wash one-to-one and apply it with an old brush. This is just something I prefer, and not gonna lie, it's pretty satisfying. Now for a quick tip, once it's on, I'll use a hairdryer on a low setting to speed up the drying time. Just don't go full blast, otherwise you might blow the wash right out of the recesses. With the wash fully dry, he's looking very Plague Marine-y, so to bring him back to a salamander without losing the highlights and shadows we've just created, we need to tint the armor with a translucent layer of green, so I'm just taking that base coat mix we were using earlier and adding in some more lizard green. What we're aiming for is a mix that's roughly 2-to-1 lizard green to afro shadow. And for that I've got my makeup sponge slightly damp, which helps thin the paint, but here's the most critical part of this whole process. You have to control the amount of paint on the sponge. I'll test it on my glove first. That consistency looks good, but there's too much paint. If I applied this now, it would flood the recesses, so I'll dab most of this off on a towel until almost nothing comes out. Now I can dab this all over the model while not worrying about it getting into the recesses. This thin layer of green will not only tint the colour, but it will also smooth out that patchy dry brush texture, giving us a much cleaner finish. To make the armor look like it's being hit by a light source from above, I'm going to start building up some volumetric highlights. First I'll take pure lizard green on my sponge and apply it with a light dabbing motion to all the upper facing areas. After that I'll mix lizard green and pistachio 1-to-1 for a brighter highlight, and apply that with an even lighter dab, focusing only on the most exposed points. Think of it like a zenithal highlight. Take this part slow, as the goal is to build up the brightness in distinct stages. Now it's time to block in the other elements. I'm using Tenebrous Grey for the backpack and anything else that will eventually be black or metallic. This stage is a common place for mistakes, and I know you guys like seeing how to fix them. So let's make one on purpose. Let's say you accidentally get some black on the green armor. If it's wet, just wipe it with your finger. But what if it's already dry? It's an easy fix. On an easy to reach spot like this knee pad, I'll just go back in with some lizard green on the sponge and apply a few light coats until the mistake is gone. Sometimes the repaired area might look a bit too bright. To blend that back in, I'll add a tiny bit of afro shadow to the mix and gently sponge that around the edges. You can go back and forth like this until it matches or you get bored. I originally painted the secondary details purple, but it just wasn't hitting for me, so I went with red instead. Leather areas are base coated with a 1-to-1 mix of saddle brown and tenebrose grey. And for the backpack, I've added a few edge highlights of dark sea grey. Over the dark red areas, I'm applying a thin coat of brighter red, making sure to leave some of that darker colour showing through in the recesses. Then to add some visual interest to the shoulder, I'm picking out a few individual scales in this brighter red and leaving the rest dark. To highlight the red, I'm using pastel peach and focusing on the top areas. Now that highlight is way too bright. To bring it down to a saturated red, I'll thin down some red paint until it's transparent and apply it like a glaze. This tints the peach colour without erasing the highlight. For the hair tuft, I wanted a more intense fiery look, so I added another targeted highlight with pastel peach and then glazed it with luminous orange. For the metallics, my first thought was a bright orangey gold, but it looked too stark against the green, so I scrapped that and repainted. I wanted to create a more weathered and integrated look, so I opted for a dark bronze base using Tinting. To make these areas look old, I'll apply a black wash straight from the pot, which instantly dulls the shine and adds depth. And I'm using this wash on all the red and leather areas as well. I'll even use it to selectively add depth around details like some of the bolts. Basically anywhere I want a darker shadow, except for the hair. I want to keep that fiery. Once that's dry, I'll take a very bright gold, like Moonstone Alchemy, and use a dabbing motion on just some of the edges, which gives a beaten dinged up appearance with almost no effort. Finally, to make that green armor pop and to sell the weathered look, I'll apply some final edge highlights using a mix of lizard green and pistachio. I'll focus on the parts I want to draw attention to, like the face, and also use this mix to paint on thin lines for scratches. You can also add another highlight to the sharpest points using just pistachio to make some key areas really pop. To give those scratches real depth, take a darker colour like Afro Shadow and carefully paint a very thin line directly above the bright scratch line. This creates a powerful illusion of a deep gouge in the armour. And remember, if you ever feel an area is too bright or a blend isn't smooth, you can always go back in with lizard green to tone it down. And there you have it, he's looking mean and ready for battle. This process gives you a solid foundation you can call done, or you can add the extra details like we did with the battle damage and extra highlights. I took it even further with some fiery OSL, which I'll cover in a future Patreon guide. If you found this helpful, give this vid a like and subscribe. And for more tutorials, check out my Patreon with the link in the description. Your support is hugely appreciated. Cheers to my patrons and everyone watching. I'll see you in the next one.